Isaiah 24, we're going to look at verses 19 through 22. Isaiah 24, 19 through 22. The earth is broken asunder. The earth is split through. The earth is shaken violently. The earth reels to and fro like a drunkard, and it totters like a shack. For its transgression is heavy upon it, and it will fall, never to rise again. So it will happen in that day that the Lord will punish the host of heaven on high and the kings of the earth on earth. They will be gathered together like prisoners in the dungeon, and will be confined in prison. And after many days, they will be punished. Now, folks, that's the Word of God. That's God who says that, not the preacher. So, the message this morning I titled, "The World Staggers Drunk in Sin."
Amen.
What we have just read, if you look at those few short verses, you will see the condition of the world that you and I live in today. Not only will you see its condition, but you will see its destiny. The world, this nation, and sadly, much of the professing church staggers like a drunken man. In a stupor, blinded, drunk with sin, unable to comprehend and to see the truth of their real condition. You ever watch that show Cops? You see a lot of drunks on that show Cops. And I've seen them so drunk they couldn't walk, and all that could come out of their mouth was, "I'm not drunk." That's denial, folks. You and I are living in a world today that is in denial, just like a drunkard. Unable to truly reason. Unable to think clearly because their minds have been fogged up with sin. They're set on a path of total destructions, and they have no intention of turning back. They are bound for destruction. A good way to put it would be, the world's brain has been pickled in sin. And I've discovered that the closer a person draws to the Lord, the more clearly you will begin to understand and to see the true condition of this world.
Amen.
It's bankrupt. We could say that the world is a total wreck, beyond repair. The world cannot fix itself. It is hopeless and helpless. Have you ever seen an automobile that had become a total mangled piece of metal? And the insurance company would take that vehicle and they would deem it as a total loss. A total wreck. And what is that mangled piece of metal good for? Nothing. What do they do with it? They send it to a scrap heap. They send it to a junkyard where it's eventually crushed and destroyed. Such is the fate of the current world that you and I live in, folks. I want you to consider some definitions of the words that are in our text this morning. The prophet says that this world is broken. Broken could be defined as being violently separated into parts, shattered, having undergone or having been disrupted. It's bankrupt, it's disconnected, it's disunited by separation. Broken. The world is broken. He says that the world is split apart. Split means to tear or to rend apart, to divide into portions, to break apart. Says that it's been shaken. Shaken means to move irregularly to and fro. It's a blow or a shock that upsets the balance of equilibrium. To quake, to quiver, to tremble. Then he uses this word. It's not just shaken, but it's violently shaken. That means it's furiously shaken. Mentally disordered to the point of a loss of self-control. If you haven't noticed, folks, our world is out of control. He uses this word reel. It reels to and fro. Reel means to turn or to move round and round. To be in a whirl. To behave in a violent, disorderly manner. To wave or fall back. To walk or to move unsteadily. Then he gives us the illustration of a drunkard. We all know what a drunkard is. A drunkard is someone who is habitually drunk. They just stay drunk all the time. And they are oblivious to what's going on around them. To be drunk is to be intoxicated, to be affected by drink. Then he says that it totters like a shack. Totter means to tremble, or an illustration of to rock as if it's about to fall. To become unstable. The threat is of total collapse. He uses this word shack. You know, I was raised in a small town that's surrounded by rural areas. And you can ride out, even today, you can ride out into those rural areas and you can see dilapidated shacks. Some of them have already perhaps fallen down on one side. They're unstable. It wouldn't take much to just totally obliterate them. Shack is a rickety thing. Here you have an apt description of the current world as defined by God. Now, that's a frightening picture, isn't it? Well, you know, each day I see more and more the reality of that truth that's spoken by the prophet. The world is like a staggering drunk who never sobers up. Prophet says that man is living in a broken world. A world that's not only broken, but a world that has already been judged. You know, I get so tired sometimes of folks saying, don't judge, don't judge, don't judge. Folks, the world has already been judged. The world's already been judged. A world that is already in turmoil. A world that is already under the condemnation of God. God's already condemned it. It's already been sentenced. The world that you and I live in has already been destined for destruction as an automobile that's been deemed a total loss. God has proclaimed it. We just read it. God has proclaimed it, therefore it must come to pass. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. The world is a wreck. If you don't believe that, just turn on the TV and watch the news for about 30 minutes. Watch it 5 minutes. You'll see real quick that the world's a wreck. It's a mess. It's actually non-repairable, and God says it is headed for the scrap heap. Been deemed a total loss by God Himself. You've seen that automobile mangled in an accident where the insurance department has deemed it as a total loss. God has deemed this world as a total loss. Man is in a feverish effort, moment by moment, in his attempts to repair this broken world, and he discovers day by day that he has a task that is impossible. Beyond repair, God says. It's already been judged. It's already been sentenced for destruction. It's only awaiting for the tow truck to pull it off. That's all it's waiting for, folks. This world is waiting for God's tow truck to tow this world into oblivion and destruction. Some folk refuse to believe that a God of love could literally destroy the world. I ran across an interesting paragraph a couple of days ago that said this: God loved Adam, but He cursed him. God loved Cain, but He punished him. God loved Sodom and Gomorrah, but He destroyed them. God loved Israel, but He allowed her to be conquered and exiled, and He set her aside for a while. Most folk do not understand the love of God. That's true throughout the world, and the sad reality of it is true in much of the church world. The folks see God as only one-sided. They've chosen to believe and see only one side of God. They don't understand that God balances love and justice. God says that man is living in a broken world. We can either believe that or we can't. If you don't believe that, the fact is you're broken with the world. You're part of the world. Man is living in a broken world, a world that staggers like a drunkard on the brink of collapse. You know,